What's up, guys? In this video, I'm actually quite excited to talk about. We're going to talk about a topic that is, maybe a little greasy, a little less favorable than some of the other topics in the videos, and that is the subject of how to pitch anything to anybody. Just taking some general principles from sales and psychology to apply to, whether it be you're trying to convince your friend that you want to go to this restaurant instead of that restaurant, or you're trying to convince, somebody to buy something from you. It's probably the most useful, marketable skill set on the planet, and is in fact what intrigued me enough back when I was about 18, 19 to start really reading into psychology in my own time. I had done a little bit, but this really motivated me to get to a next level for whatever reason. I just thought it'd be funny. I don't know, I watched too much Darren Brown or something like that. But without further ado, here we go. Recently, I actually myself started as a job, at a sales job, and don't hate me for this, I'm currently a telemarketer, but hey, a man has to eat. Here's a few things that I throw into my pitch on the phone, or in, when I'm, again, trying to convince whether it be my friend or whoever, to do, things my way. So step number one, or proposal number one I would like to submit to you, is that you make them say yes. You ask them questions that you know that they will have to answer yes to. For myself, I'll ask people like, hey, are you currently located at 123 Fake Street? Or am I speaking with Mr. X? Or something about them that they will have to answer yes to. You just simply ask that question, and doing this 4 or 5 times throughout the conversation, even before you start pitching. You can even do the pitch before the pitch, and just generate this state in their mind that is just an accepting yes state. I touched on this a little bit before in one of my videos when I talked about how smiling makes you happier even just by doing it. I even just feel a little happier just by doing that, funnily enough. I have it so anchored into myself that you're going to actually, just by getting them to say yes and nodding, or they're going to submit the physiology. They're going to submit to the physiology of the yes state. Some people have called it. This is called a yes set or a yes ladder in some circles. But basically, just by getting people to say yes, you're priming them into a more accepting and positive state before you submit the piece of information that you're going to submit to them that you would like them to sort of see your point of view on. Point number 2 I would like to submit to you to include in your pitches is that you do not let people object to things that you know they're going to object to. You, in fact, bring up the objections that they may have, and that you know that they will have, in a very realistic manner. Before you, and don't try to sidestep it, acknowledge that it is an objection, it could be a potential pitfall, but talk about it in this real manner, talking about it in this real manner and acknowledging it before they have the opportunity to bring it up. You can say that, yeah, hey, that's basically you saying at an unconscious level, hey, I get it, like, I know that you have this problem with it. Like, say you're going to a restaurant, it's like, hey, I know you had that bad experience before, but you know what? You've had a bad experience. Is probably like, what's your favorite restaurant? You probably had a bad experience before there too, That's the way things go. See, just me talking like that, in that real manner, acknowledging their opinion and the reality of the situation, without letting them using it as that sort of way to hook in and sort of, make you miss your opportunity for the sale or your opportunity to get your way to go to the restaurant that you wanted to go to. Tip number 3 I would like to give you, building on top of this, if an objection arises that you do not inoculate against, that you have to have a way to overcome that. And that may just seem so obvious that overcoming an objection, that's, of course, you're gonna have to do that. That's what sales, you could argue, that's the essence of the sales process. It's just overcoming people's objections to things. And there's a lot of different strategies for going about this. One that I myself have found useful is, again, that inoculating against objections is one that really works for myself, as well as, again, when they do bring out an objection, acknowledge it in a very realistic manner, and then sort of show the hidden benefits of that objection, or reframing that objection, if you will, as maybe not an objection, but a necessary evil and a part of the whole big positive honeypot picture that you're trying to paint for them. Tip number 4 that I would like to suggest to you is that you elicit their set of values, their decision criteria, if you will, by asking really good questions. If you saw my last video on nominalizations, I talked a little bit more about NLP and effective questioning. But what this really gets down to is you have to ask them a question in which they must go inside themselves and to find the answer to. So, you don't say like, what's your favorite restaurant? and they'd say X, Y, or Z, you know, Mad Mango Cafe, whatever it may be. You say, when you go to a restaurant and you really just have an awesome experience, you know, what is that like? And what are some of the things that facilitate that really excellent experience for you? This will give you the sort of things that they're looking for in their decision process. And you know, it could also give you know, even wider schemas of how to analyze this person and their decision process, whether or not they like to move towards pleasure or move away from pain, or they like spicy food or whatever, something as trivial as that, or they like good service, or you know, they don't care about service, they're more concerned about the quality of the food or the atmosphere of the restaurant even. Once you have elicited this criteria, their decision criteria or their liking criteria, if you will, that you then work that in to your description of the place and showing you how not only does this place that I want to go or this product that I'm offering you do all of these things, but it does all of these other amazing things that I was already talking about, or maybe you haven't talked about yet, but essentially finding out their criteria by asking them questions in such a way that they have to go inside themselves and really analyze the experience and experience it at first to give you the answer to, you know. Another great question for this is, when you really know that you found something that you'd like, what is that like for you? Because to answer that, they can't just be like, well, you know, feels happy. They'll have to sort of go back to the last time or some time that stood out in their mind where that happened and then give you the answer. And the final tip I would like to give you, though there is a myriad of tips for the sake of brevity, I would propose to you is that you do something that in the hypnosis world is called fractionating. Essentially what fractionating is putting somebody, at least in terms of hypnosis, I'll use the hypnosis definition, is putting somebody into a trance and then breaking that trance briefly before putting them back into it. So myself here, I'll give you the example from my work as a telemarketer or whatever. I'll go through the parts of my sales pitch and start to pitch it to them and pique their interest by saying something like, you know, you're eligible for a special offer, or, hey, we're just reaching out to you because you're in good standing and we wanted to give you a little special something for being a good customer. But hey, first, I have to let you know, the call is just being recorded for X, Y, or Z reasons. So again, I can't really explain to you the mechanism behind this. You might be able to find some literature, but I bet you it's a lot of speculation, as with a lot of things in hypnosis, because it is a black box model for the way the mind works, as all models for the way the mind works are, for the most part. But just by doing this, you bring them back in deeper into that state they were before. Again, you could do a little more research than me and find out the exact neurobiological reasons for this, if there are any. But within hypnosis, it's a widely used technique and has been shown to be quite effective. So there you have it. That's how you pitch stuff to people. And I hopefully I've pitched it well to you and sold you on my ideas about pitching things. Cheers. This has been Mnemonics.